The Assassin's Creed series has been around for over 15 years now, and over the course of this time, we've seen over 12 core entries across over 10 different time periods with 11 different protagonists. But out of all of our hooded assassins we've played as, none have had as much influence over gaming and nerd culture as our golden boy.
Ezio Auditori de la. Prego.
The Ezio Trilogy is what really put the IP on the map in terms of a gaming icon, and there's good reason for that. Across 3 games, we got to see our hero go from a brash young man to a silver fox with a higher kill count than Nathan Drake. But these games are not just beloved because of Ezio. They also helped define open world games of the time, and it set a standard for how to fill an open world with fun things to do alongside a compelling story. I've replayed all 3 Ezio games for my channel, and I thought it might be a fun idea to give my thoughts on how they all stack up against each other. I'm not going to go super in depth with each game here because I've already made videos dedicated to each game, so if you want to know my deeper thoughts on each, go check out those videos. With that being said, let's start off the ranking. Number 3, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. Now, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood is a good game, but I don't think it's as special as the other 2 Ezio titles in the series. I feel like with my video I made on it, I went a little hard and gave the impression that I thought the game was bad. And to be clear, I definitely don't. This game is pure excitement. I mean, there are so many fun and memorable activities to do, like the Da Vinci missions and the layers of Romulus. This game is responsible for some of my core gaming memories, as I vividly remember spending Saturday afternoons in middle school trying to 100% sync every mission on my Xbox 360. I think this game also might have my favorite design for Ezio, with that classy spiral design on the sleeves and the red accents contrasting with the sleek white robes. Even the white cape with the red undercolor helps to visually signify what an assassin should be. An inconspicuous cloth that blends in seamlessly with the rest of society. But hidden just on the other side is that sweet blood red color signifying the dangerous hidden blade in the crowd, capable of killing anyone at a moment's notice. I think this outfit is befitting of a master assassin, and the armor upgrades you get only add to the cool factor. Whenever I think of Ezio, his Brotherhood design is the image that comes to my mind. The map in Brotherhood also gives you the most to do out of all 3 games. There's a myriad of boxes to check, whether it be fixing aqueducts or completing assassinations, or, as I already mentioned, the Da Vinci missions and the layers of Romulus. And while all these things are fun, they show the exact problem I have with the game. It's pretty much all empty calories. Brotherhood doesn't take that long to finish completely, so I don't really think it's bloated, but it's a weird glimpse into what Ubisoft's future titles became. Bloated open worlds with lots of boxes to check. And yes, I'm looking at you, Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Odyssey. I think part of the reason I feel this way is the lack of substance that the narrative has. The other 2 games have really strong themes about honor, legacy, and duty, and I don't think Brotherhood has any of these. It's an entertaining story, sure, but it's not really about anything. And not that every game needs to be about something or make some grand statement about morality and the free will of humans, but the other games have been so thematically strong that Brotherhood kind of sticks out in comparison. It's kind of like ice cream. It's delicious and I love eating it. But if I'm being honest, it's not nutritious and it doesn't fill me up. It's a nice sweet treat to have occasionally, and I think that's what Assassin's Creed Brotherhood is. It's a fun game that doesn't overstay its welcome. But if I'm being honest, I don't think the story has very much depth or meaning as the other games. As Jose Ortiz Reflects pointed out in my Brotherhood video, the important parts of this story are all the modern day elements, which I will admit is cool. I just wish they would have done a little more with Ezio's character in this game. And again, I don't think this game is bad. If I were to give it a score out of 10, it would probably still be like an 8.5. But with that being said, I do have to be true to myself, so unfortunately it falls behind the other 2 entries on my list. Number 2, Assassin's Creed Revelations. Oh, Assassin's Creed Revelations, how much I love you. This is a game that I find more and more special every time I play it. Also, I can't help but to mention how it has one of the best opening cinematics in a video game ever. I remember when it first came out and I thought it was just okay, if maybe a bit boring. And this was probably because I was in 8th grade at the time and I didn't really spend a whole lot of time thinking about things that weren't directly in front of me, as most kids do. It wasn't until I probably got into my late teens, or maybe even once I was 20, that the game really clicked with me. It's a story with a ton of meaning about how we have a responsibility to pass down our knowledge to future generations, and how we have a moral obligation to try and make the world a better place for those that are going to live after us. Constantinople is also a fun location that we don't normally see in video games, which is one of the reasons that I love Assassin's Creed as a series. It gives us a historic open world to just walk around in, set in time periods that no other games really attempt to recreate. It's one of the reasons why I'm excited for Assassin's Creed Mirage. We haven't seen an open world game set in an historic Middle Eastern city since Revelations. The game does take a lot of the side activity from Brotherhood and boil it down to only the important stuff, but I think that makes the game more concise and it really focuses on building what the main story is about. I don't think there's another game in the franchise that speaks to what Assassin's Creed is as much as this game does. It's an incredibly special game with a story that I will always think about fondly, and it's one of my favorite conclusions to a character ever. It was so close to being to the top of my list, but I just couldn't deny what I felt in my heart. With that being said, the number one title is Assassin's Creed 2. I think Assassin's Creed 2 is the full package. I think when you compare it to the other games, Brotherhood has individual aspects that it does better, like having big, exciting set pieces that you play through. And I think Revelations has a deeper, more thought-provoking story. But when I look at Assassin's Creed 2 as a whole package and not just its individual parts, I think it adds up to being my favorite overall. This game starts out with a fantastic opening with Ezio and his brother, and it introduces us to the song Ezio's Family, which is so damn good that they've gone on to remix and reuse for every game and is basically now the theme for the entire series. The locations of AC2 are also some of my favorite in the whole series. Florence, Tuscany, and Venice all feel distinct from each other, and each location is equally fun to parkour around and just exist in. I think when comparing to the other games here, there's less to do in the open worlds, but I wouldn't necessarily say that's a bad thing, it's just different. As I said earlier, these locations are extremely unique to the video game landscape. No other game has captured the feeling of just walking around the streets of Renaissance Italy the way this game has, flowy sleeves and all. The combat also pushes back a little more in this game, which makes sense considering Ezio isn't quite as experienced. It's not exactly the deepest combat system in the world. I mean, it's not Dark Souls we're playing here, but it's just engaging enough that I have to focus on what I'm doing to win. Not amazing, but not bad either. This story is also an extremely entertaining tale of revenge, and I'm a sucker for stories that take place over decades of someone's life. It really gives you the feeling of going on a journey with a character, and part of what makes this journey special is seeing Ezio's own personal growth. You start out as seeing Ezio as a young brash man who basically lives for wine and women. He only becomes an assassin to avenge the death of his father and brothers. But over the course of the game, you see him meet people like Uncle Mario, who help train him not only to become a better assassin, but to become a better man. A man who understands the responsibility of choosing your own actions. A man who understands that the duty of an assassin is to protect the free will of the public from dictators, so that they may choose their own path. And to be clear, just because Ezio grows into someone who fights for something greater than himself, that doesn't mean he loses his charm and fun-loving attitude. He stays that great roguish archetype where every man wants to be him and every woman wants to be with him. It's the reason why he's been loved as long as he has and probably still will be for years to come. Assassin's Creed 2 is the game that put the series on the map, and I don't think it would be as prevalent as it is today without it. It's influential, not only in my own personal love of games, but to many others as well, and also the whole video game industry, which is why it is my number one of the Ezio Trilogy. But as always guys, this is just my opinion. The Ezio Trilogy specifically has a rabid fan base, and I would love to hear how you guys rank these games. Please let me know in the comments below. I would love to talk with all of you. And as always, thanks for watching.